She got the role with almost no experience. The rumors started immediately. About her and her married co-star, Burak, 14 years her senior. She denied everything, but kept posting photos from set. Why? Do you believe a look like that can be faked without real feelings? Özge Törer, the girl who walked into a casting as a third-year art student with almost no acting experience and beat out actresses who had been working for years. The face that became Bala Hatun, the role that ran for 6 seasons, 101 episodes across 100 countries. But behind the historical costume and the awards, Best Actress of the Year, International Diamond Award, Golden 61, there's a story most people only saw the surface of. A student who kept her Instagram closed and personally approved every follower. A girl from a village who grew up with horses and used Bala Hatun as a compass for real-life decisions. And a question that millions of fans have been asking since the first season: what was really happening between her and Burak on that set? August 16th, 1999, a small town in Turkey. Not Istanbul. Not a family with industry connections. She grew up in the countryside, a private family, a home where she helped with the household, long walks, open space, and horses. Horses were not just a hobby. They were part of her daily life growing up. Caring for them, learning their behavior, building a relationship with animals that requires patience and presence above all else. That connection stayed with her long after she left for the city. She has 2 younger brothers, Berkay and Under, neither of them in the industry. She is fiercely protective of their privacy. The only family photos she has ever posted publicly were from her younger brother's 6th birthday. A warm caption, a few tender images, and nothing more. One of her closest relationships is with her older brother, who she says has been her protector and advisor since childhood. Even from herself sometimes. When her moods and inner conflicts need an outside voice, she goes to him. She is described by people who know her as non-confrontational. Private, direct and honest, in the way that quiet people often are. They don't perform openness, but when they say something, they mean it. After school, Istanbul, university, Faculty of Applied Arts, 3rd year, still studying, still figuring out what exactly her life was going to look like. And then, a casting call for a role that nobody expected her to walk away with. The casting for Kuruluş. Osman was looking for someone to play Bala Hatun, the wife of Osman Gazi, one of the most important female characters in Ottoman history. The producer behind the project was Mehmet Bozda, a man with a reputation for discovering talent nobody else had noticed yet. He had done it before, brought in unknown faces for major roles, and been proven right by audiences who fell for them completely. For Bala Hatun, he did it again. Ozge walked into that audition as a 3rd-year student at the Faculty of Applied Arts. Almost no professional acting experience. Her only previous screen appearance had been as a host on a small show on Turkey's Channel 5. Nothing that would make a casting director stop and take notice. But Bozda noticed. He later said that talent and beauty were visible immediately, and that his approach had always been that an unknown actress brings something an established one sometimes can't. A freshness, an openness, no habits to unlearn. There was also a practical dimension. A lesser-known actress commands a lower fee, even in a leading role. The show was paying her 60,000 lira per episode at the start. For comparison, the male lead was receiving 400,000 lira per episode. She got the role anyway, and from the first episode, audiences understood why. But before the first episode even aired, she did something that surprised everyone. Something that told you exactly what kind of person had just become the face of one of Turkey's biggest productions. She closed her Instagram and started personally approving every single follower request. Most actors in her position would have done the opposite. A major role in a major production, you open everything up. You build the audience. You post constantly. Ozge closed her account. She personally reviewed and approved every follower request, one by one. The account that had existed before the fame was not going to become public just because the fame had arrived. She said herself that she finds it far more interesting to give life to exceptional historical personalities. to become them on screen or on stage than to make her own persona public. That the role is the performance, not the Instagram. It was a losing strategy professionally. She knew that. The production's management eventually pushed back, pointed out that a lead actress in one of Turkey's most watched shows, keeping her social media private, was working against the project's visibility. She opened the account, but only partially, and on her own terms. She created 2 separate accounts, one personal, one for Bala Hatun, the character, both carefully managed, both showing exactly as much as she decided to show. She hired one communications assistant, said beforehand that this was something only big stars needed and she wasn't there yet. Then she got there and made the practical decision without making a statement about it, and the numbers grew. Because once people could see her, they didn't look away. But it was what they saw on set, not on Instagram, that really got people talking. The preparation for Bala Hatun was unlike anything most young actresses take on for a first major role. The production arranged training in archery, sword fighting, proper extended sessions, and horseback riding, which for Ozge wasn't starting from zero. She had grown up with horses, but on screen, she needed to look like a warrior, like someone who had been on horseback in battle. That's a different kind of riding, and she trained for it specifically. Then there was the historical research. The production provided the framework, the character, the era, the broad strokes of Bala Hatun's life. Ozge went further on her own. She spent hours studying every available source on the historical figures of that period, the customs, the context, the world these people actually lived in. The research was serious enough that the institution where she was conducting it offered her the opportunity to publish it as an academic paper. She took her costumes home. The recognizable headpieces of Bala Hatun, she wore them outside the set to continue inhabiting the character in movement, in gesture, in physical sensation. Because for her, wearing the role was not enough. She needed to live inside it. And she said something in interviews that stopped people. That when she doesn't know how to handle a situation in her own life, she asks herself what Bala Hatun would do. Not a character she plays, a compass she carries. She said the set became her home. The crew became her family. Yıldız Çağrı Ataşır, her on-screen rival, became one of her closest friends in real life. As did Didem Balşın. The enmity that viewers felt was real turned out to be the opposite of reality. And then, the question everyone actually wanted answered. Kuruluş, Osman put Özge Törer on screen opposite Burak Özçivit, one of the most recognized faces in Turkish television. He played Osman Gazi. She played his wife, Bala Hatun. On screen, a love story, a partnership, 2 people building an empire together. Off screen, the cameras kept watching, and what they captured was the kind of chemistry that fans of Turkish drama know how to read. The way he looked at her in scenes that didn't require that particular intensity. The way she looked back. The ease between them that comes either from deep professional trust or from something else entirely. The rumors started almost immediately. Turkish press picked it up. Then international fan communities. Then social media, which has no patience for nuance and no interest in waiting for official statements. The narrative wrote itself. A married man. His wife, Fariye Evcen, at home. A 14-year age gap. A young actress in her first major role spending 12-hour days with one of Turkey's biggest stars. Ozge addressed it directly. Said in an interview that her feelings for Burak were deep and genuine, but had nothing to do with romantic love. That it was the admiration of a student for a teacher whose talent she was in awe of. Her co-stars were equally careful. The official line from everyone involved, colleagues, friends, nothing more. And yet, she kept posting photos from set, behind-the-scenes moments, images that the fan communities interpreted as carefully as ancient texts, analyzing angles, expressions, proximity. Why keep posting if the goal was to quiet the rumors? That question, nobody has answered cleanly. Fans who were convinced said it simply, a look like that cannot be faked without real feelings. The camera doesn't lie. Ozge said it was the best compliment to her acting that anyone could give her. Maybe both things are true. Maybe neither is. So let's go back to where we started. She got the role with almost no experience. The rumors started immediately about her and her married co-star Burak, 14 years her senior. She denied everything, but kept posting photos from set. Why? Do you believe a look like that can be faked without real feelings? Here's what we actually know. A girl from a small town who grew up with horses and kept her Instagram closed when everyone else would have thrown it wide open. Who prepared for Bala Hatun with the seriousness of an academic researcher and took the costume home to keep living inside the role? Who said she uses the character as a compass for real-life decisions? Who built genuine friendships with the women who were her enemies on screen? Who quietly accumulated Best Actress awards while saying as little as possible about herself in public? And who, when faced with rumors that could have defined her entire public image, said the simplest possible thing, that the feelings were deep, that they were genuine, that they had nothing to do with romance. Whether you believe that is up to you. What's certain is this. The Netflix era begins now. Eve Giden Yol, a psychological thriller. A new chapter for an actress who spent 6 years becoming one of the most recognized faces in historical Turkish drama. And the question she's been asking herself since the beginning was, what would Bala Hatun do? We'll follow her into every room she walks into next. Write in the comments. Do you believe the look can be faked? And if this story surprised you, you're already in the right place for more.